Hello and welcome to the national debate. I'm Madhavdas. Almost 16 months after violence began in Manipur, there's a resurgence of conflict in the state. Several students and women have hit the streets in Imphal over the last few weeks with multiple demands, including the removal of the DGP and security advisor to the state government, and also the resignation of the governor and 50 MLAs on moral grounds. Amidst these tensions, the state government has decided to impose curfew in 3 districts: Imphal East, Imphal West and Tobal. Internet services have also been suspended in 5 valley districts. Earlier this week, the Chief Minister and MLAs have submitted a memorandum to the governor. And as per top sources, through this memorandum, the delegation has urged the centre to protect territorial integrity amidst calls for a separate administration. The Chief Minister, Biren Singh, in his appeal, has urged the centre not to yield to the growing demand for a separate administration, which has been the focal point of recent tensions in the region. Concerns have also been growing over claims of foreign involvement in the unrest in Manipur, which have raised several questions. What led to the latest spate of protests and violence, and what needs to be done to resolve these tensions? Joining us for more on this, we have with us Rami Desai, author. With us also is Colonel Shanti Kumar Sapam, retired, who is also going to be with us. With us is PK Mishra, additional DG of BSF, ex-additional DG, beg your pardon. We have Gladi Vaifai Hunjan, who's been a Kukizo woman activist here. We also have Dr. Nemthiangai Guite, who's an associate professor of JNU. With us also is Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here in our studio. But let's begin by what really has transpired. Let's take a quick look at recent events. On the 6th of August 2024, there was a purported audio clip, allegedly, of Chief Minister Biren Singh that goes viral on social media. And on the 6th of August, we see that there are certain offensive remarks made in this alleged audio tape against particular communities. From the 8th to the 20th, we've seen how the Biren Singh government has said that the audio tape recordings are doctored. They denied that it's a real audio tape or an authentic audio tape. They've said it's a malicious bid to incite violence and derail the peace process. After that, on the 31st, we see protests over the audio tape with a demand for a separate administration coming to the fore. On the 1st of September, violence breaks out. 2 were killed, several injured in a drone attack on 2 Imphal West villages. Later, on the 2nd of September, we've seen a second wave of drone attacks, damaged 3 Indian Reserve Battalion bunkers. And of course, on the 6th of September, another killing, 5 injured in the first reported rocket attack that has taken place. But what really are the demands of the protesters? Let's take a quick look at that. They've demanded, firstly, the resignation of the Manipur DGP Rajiv Singh. They've also gone on to demand resignation of the centre-appointed security advisor in Manipur. The third demand is that the resignation of the governor of Manipur should take place. The fourth demand is withdrawal of paramilitary forces from the state. So the big question about these demands that are coming in, and also, of course, demanded 50 MLAs should resign on moral grounds, quote unquote. So these are as far as the demands of these protesters are concerned. Let me begin first and foremost with Gladi Vaifai Hunjan. Gladi Vaifai Hunjan, how reasonable are these demands? The governor, the security advisor, the MLAs all should resign. I mean, one can understand the anger, but are these demands reasonable is a question many would ask.
Whether these demands are reasonable or not, this only shows that 16 months have passed. The violence in Manipur, the genocide against Kukizo continue till today. These are the results of what happened under Biren Singh and his militia. If you look at the story behind the whole violence started on 3rd May 2023. It started on that day for everyone to see, but actually the plan, it's a very pre-planned, pre-thought about all this violence. That all these demands are the results of
Why is it pre-planned? Why do you say pre-planned?
It is pre-planned because if you look at the Kukizo house in Imphal Valley, they were all marked with red color. All those houses were first attacked when the violence happened. And also the land right that was given to the village chief of the Kukizo was taken away from them, from the village chief, and the very office that was kept in Imphal Valley was burned down. And all the original paper that the Kukizo chief has is burned down in Imphal Valley. And also, if you look at the way the whole thing started, how can a big city like the Valley Imphal all the cookies can be gathered in just 2 days' time. If you look at the people on that day, the people who are in the army camp, who took shelter, they're not ordinary people. They're not farmers. They are bureaucrats. They are lawyers. They are doctors. Even the ex-MLA who served Manipur for 4 times was in that CRPF camp. How can, if it is not pre-planned, the entire Imphal erupt with violence, start burning down almost all the churches of Kukizo? If the pre-plan is not there, how come it is so organized?
So you're alleging 2 or 3 things. You're saying that this is pre-planned violence. Colonel Shanti Kumar Sapam, I want you to come in on this. Was this violence pre-planned? She is alleging there was collusion of the administration. She's also saying that at the end of the day, whether the demands are reasonable or unreasonable, the fact is that the violence has gone on for close to 1.5 years, and that is far from desirable given that law and order is the state government's responsibility end of the day.
Madhavji, firstly, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come to your show. Secondly, what ma'am has said, I feel that there is nothing true in that. All the churches are intact over there in Imphal. In the valley, not a single church has been burned. It's all intact. If you happen to come over there, you can see all the churches over there, intact and safe. And all the houses which ma'am has mentioned, they are all safe. Nothing has happened over there. Now, what happened is, let's see on 3rd of May, 2023, who are the dignitaries in the government offices, in the IS side, in the police side. In the IS side, Chief Secretary and Chief Secretary himself, Rajesh Sharma, and his wife, and down the channel, how many officers from the her community, how many officers were there? And in the police side, the first number 1, P. Donglian is there. C. Donglian, his younger brother, is there as DGP of 2 from the same family. And Mr. Kailun is there as additional DGP. And the third one, Mr. Clay Khongsa, is there, additional DGP, and various officers. As far as in the top rank officers, as far as the home department is concerned, there was no from this thing. If the chief minister wants to order something, that something is going to happen in, the information was given to DGP of Imphal. He did not act. And whatever ma'am has said, all the houses were marked. No, it is I would say it is totally lie.
Okay, let's sort this out right now. What you have said is factually wrong, he says. Do you have anything to prove your
I have
claims?
the proof of that. It is on social media. All the Kukizo houses are marked red. And he says that the churches were not burned down. All the video that went viral, KBC church was burned. And my own relative house in Vaipei, 5 of them are all totally gutted down. Whatever he's saying, such a lie. If we keep spreading lie on national TV and not speaking the truth, how on earth are we going to solve? No wonder the violence has gone through 16 months of long, because people spread lie after lie, even on national TV. Such people should be banned here. Who is he trying to fool? That no Kuki house are burned. Who is he trying to fool? No churches are burned down in the valley. We all know that, Madhav. He is lying flat here. He should be banned to come on national TV.
We're talking about a situation where there is a huge violence that has happened. There may be perpetrators from each side, there may be victims from each side. I'm not going to get into that debate. But the point is, one has to acknowledge the problem. The larger question coming from her side is, you have to acknowledge when there has been an incident of violence, and that's when you will be able to move on. Because if you don't acknowledge that one side has been affected, how will you find a solution to this, Colonel?
Solution is, this is a very deep-rooted problem. I would say the Chief Minister of Manipur took 3 actions. One was against poppy cultivation. The second one was about the illegal immigrant, where there was no record. Mizoram was having 40,000 illegal immigrants in Mizoram, whereas from Tengnungpal to Firzol district, covering around 200 kilometers, more than 200 kilometers, there was no record of any not a single illegal immigrant.
Okay.
Third, let me just complete. The third point, what he did was, there was an encroachment in the reserve forest. There was a village which was not there in 2019, and it was there in 2022. And 4 notices were given to evict this village. And that was not evicted by themselves. So it was the state government evicted that. Village.
I will come into the point of those who have come from outside, etc., because I think there's a separate question that I want to ask in relation to these allegations of foreign hand, etc. But let me come to PK Mishra, additional DG of the BSF. The question over here is this: we have a huge presence of central forces today in Manipur. The question that repeatedly arises is that despite this massive protest, a massive presence really of these central forces, we are seeing these repeated incidents of violence. Where is the issue? Is the issue with the deployment? Is the issue with the use? Is the issue with the kind of uniform command structure that we have? Why is it that we are unable to contain this violence? Mr. Mishra.
Yes, Madhav, I can well tell you there is definitely a big problem in Manipur. I have listened to both the speakers. I'm quite neutral. I visit Churachandpur also. I visit Imphal. I'm a person only just before 10 days I was there at Churachandpur. Nothing happened to me. I was there for 15 years in Manipur and have served in Manipur. I have operated in Manipur. I can well tell you that it's okay. What has happened, this is happening for last 16 months. And just see, we had 236 or 237 deaths so far in last 16 months. And what happened in Jiribam? We had about 5 deaths in Jiribam because of ethnic clash between both the communities. Now the problem is, I went to Churachandpur just on 20th of May, this 24th. And 18th of May 24 was the National Day and the raging day of Cookie Force, KFC, that is KFC Force raging day. And
right.
they were parading with RPGs, with mortar ammunitions, and with all foreign weapons. I really got totally shocked to know that we have 60,000 manpower, security forces. This is what, Madhav, you were asking me. And this is happening. It happened in May, as they were telling, Imphal was burning. Churachandpur was also burning. I have gone to Churachandpur just after that. Churachandpur was also burning. Both the places are burning. I'll tell you why. I'm not blaming whether it is security advisor, whether it is DG police. But we had army, we had Assam Rifles, we had CRPF, we had BSF, we had IRB, and the IRB on the second day after when the drone attack took place, their 3 weapons were snatched. It is the same, I'm telling, to the security forces. The worst part of it, I'm telling you. Many foreign weapons were paraded in Churachandpur.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming any community. Sorry, I don't belong to any community there in Manipur. I'm very frank, I have gone to Churachandpur and I know what all were paraded. Like in Republic Day, our weapons had been paraded.
Yeah.
So these weapons were paraded, they were foreign weapons. We had Russian weapons. We had German weapons.
Yeah.
We had Myanmar weapons. I'm telling you.
Since you've actually referred to those weapons, we're going to show it a bit later. But since you've referred to it, let's quickly bring it up on screen just to bring out to our viewers what exactly is happening as far as those weapons are concerned. This is the HK416 automatic rifle, fires 850 rounds a minute and maximum range of about 400 meters. Originates from Germany. Let's bring in the next one. This is the Colt AR-15 that has been found. It's a semi-automatic rifle. Originates from the United States. Fires about 60 rounds a minute. Maximum range of about 600 meters. The M16 is an automatic rifle, originates from the US, fires 700 to 900 rounds a minute, maximum range of 460 meters. The next one that we'll bring up on screen is the M4A1 automatic carbine. It's a primary weapon in the US military, fires 950 rounds a minute, a maximum range of 600 meters. This is, of course, the RPGs that have been found along with high-tech drones. The drones used to deploy explosives used against security forces. And the fact is that both sides recoveries have been made. It's not only one side. The larger question that I must make... very quickly. Yes. Yeah.
This is our anti-tank weapons. They are available with Cookie Joe Chin Group militants. Why I'm mentioning the name, I know it pretty well. They can hit armored vehicles of security forces. The worst part of it till today, even if 16 months have passed, our Myanmar-Manipur border, it is not yet blocked. It is not yet guarded properly by any border guarding forces. That is what is the problem for which so many weapons are coming.
Dr. Pillai, I want you to come in on this. The point is that this foreign hand it's something that when it was first stated by the Biren Singh government, it was said that this is nothing, it's all a political conspiracy, it's just a figment of imagination. But now, as time has gone by, he has been on ground. There are these reports coming in. It's a huge issue of concern if foreign weapons and such deadly weapons which are used in regular, warfare and combat are available to different groups. I don't want to blame any one side, but this is a massive problem. There have also been different instances where different armories have been looted. So we are looking at a very, very unique and peculiar situation about 16 months since the violence first broke out. And, these concerns of a foreign hand, are they completely something that can be dismissed in your view?
Thank you, Madhav, for this question. Yes, you are right when it actually is a very disturbing when it comes to armory, weapons, and then in terms of the speculation of the involvement of foreign hands. And no doubt about it, it's not about that there is, given the geographical and strategic location of the state, and also historically the kind of insurgents that has been operating in the region. You see the Métis, the Nagas, the Kuki, they all have connections with the, in and around the international borders. But here the point, the core problem is that when you, pinpointedly racialize or you blame only one community, it's not only one community, and in this context of violence, it's not only the Kuki Zou who has that foreign hand connections. Foreign hand is just an excuse. Keep your house in order first. So if you're giving other foreign hands to come to your country, then what is the intelligence agency failing? Given the situation in now Bangladesh and all, is the intelligence agency failing? India has a, bordering with Myanmar, China, Bangladesh. So these are very, strategic and also a very security challenge. So in contemporary times, it gives you that geostrategic challenges. So I think we as a country and as a nation, if we actually have to build on and work on nation building, we need to address that. And we need not point out only on one community. Okay. It's an established fact that all the community, the Métis, the Nagas, the Kuki Zou, they all have ties with the Myanmar, with the bordering countries.
Okay, Rami Desai, I want you to comment on this because it's a very important question. Because the question that is being asked whenever it's posed to the Manipur government, the question is that, okay, the Kuki Zous and other communities, they have ties on the other side, that there is foreign hand, there's drugs, there's guns, weapons, all these charges have come in time and again. So the question that's being raised over here is that why only demonize one community? Isn't that going to further the violence? Is the question coming from this side. Please respond.
Madhav, good afternoon, and thank you for having this debate and asking me this question, because I think the only community that I have seen right now demonized, or maybe not even demonized, but only one community playing victim, is the community that Gladys represents. She said that the Kuki Zou community is being demonized and only churches have been destroyed, which is entirely untrue. There have been many temples that have been destroyed. On 28th April was the first temple that was destroyed. After that, there's been a temple in Kobru, there's been a Shiv temple, there's been a temple in Siro. So as long as we engage in this sort of narrative that there's only one victim, we're never going to come out with a solution. Having said that, when we talk about transnational ethnic ties and we talk about this sort of weaponry coming in, let me also remind you that it is it sounds very nice to say that everybody is involved, but unfortunately, for this conflict, there was only one community that sent appeals to the EU, to the US, to the British Parliament, and celebrated their interference in our internal affairs. And I think that must be condemned entirely. I have not seen the community come together and say, look, this is our internal problem, this is the problem of the state of Manipur, and we do not wish to have any external interference in it. Number two, when we talk about this larger foreign hand, we also have to look at it in some perspective. I see this narrative coming up saying the US is involved, China is involved. Why are we blaming them? The weapons are being brought in by, people of these communities on the border. When we have the Mizoram chief minister interfere with a situation that should entirely be a Manipur situation. he should be condemned, because that's again interference with the state of Manipur and the conflict that is going on there. So, I think we need to be very clear that there isn't one victim. The state of Manipur is impacted. Therefore, not just the territorial integrity of Manipur, but the territorial integrity of India is being compromised by allowing foreign governments to pass statements of something that they don't understand. I've worked in these areas for 20 years. I don't call myself an expert. What is the EU going to comment on it? And how do you send an official letter through your official organizations to these countries?
Since the question is for Gladys, I'm going to come to her before I come to you. Yes, Gladys.
So I'm sorry to hear the gentleman who seems to be so gentle just to look at, having such a false information. He mentioned about Republic Day, those guns. Sadly, those are the toy guns. The DC of the Churachandpur have already clarified that. It was collected later on. They were showing the toy guns. Yes, it was a plastic guns. I'm so sorry. He seems to be so nice, but he has all false information. When it comes to foreign guns, let me tell you. When it comes to foreign guns, the 7,000 arms and ammunition looted in Imphal Valley is done by
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Let me tell you.
No personal comments. No personal comments. We don't allow that on this debate. Nobody should make personal comments on other panelists. But address the issues, please. Address the issues.
Okay. The issue now is, why is the lady over there saying Kuki community is having foreign hand? How does she know? She claimed to be Northeast expert. Did she set foot in Lamka? No. She has not been to Lamka, only in Imphal, only a few hours in Imphal. She is not, and then also foreign hand. Let me tell you, Madhav, there is no foreign hand involved with the cookies. There is no foreign hand involved with the cookies. Please don't send this new wrong narratives again. We have been blamed.
Her question is, why write to EU, why write to foreign governments when this is a domestic issue?
Well, the state itself failed. The state sent the police force and commandos to attack us when the state failed. When the governor had to flee, our spy is not implemented in the valley, only in the hills. Why? Why is the state budget only 10% given to us? Why is the 60 MLA among that only 10 is given to us? Who will listen to our voice today?
Okay. Our voice is not being heard. Our voice is not being heard. We don't have any other option but to do this. Please respond.
Madhav, personal comments aside, there is a mic. Gladys, you don't need to shout. My name is Rami. My name is Rami.
No side debates. Please, one by one. Calm down.
Having said that, Madhav, I'd also appreciate, if we use the official name for cities. Lamka is not the official name. Churachandpur is. Number two, we have heard Gladys' answer that it's all right for them to go to foreign countries for help.
I didn't say that.
What did you say?
Why is the cookie blame always?
No, I don't think that answers my question. I don't think that answers my question.
You asked a question, yeah.
Yeah, so she says it's all right because, we are being victimized. We are being victimized. So therefore, it's okay to go to foreign countries, So I really don't have an answer for this. She's answered the question that the country's been asking. Why is there international interference? And I think Gladys has made it amply clear that there is no problem with it. But when you also lie on television and say they were plastic pistols when we are dealing with drone attacks, I again don't know what to say. This is indefensible. And if you're going to come on national television
undoubtedly were a huge turning point. Of course, huge amount of concern. But let me bring in Tehseen. He's been waiting very patiently. Tehseen, question is this, that, when protesters, everyone has a right to protest. Nobody's going to take that away from any citizen. The Constitution guarantees that. But when one protests, one has also a duty to be a little reasonable. If the entire administration resigns, who's going to run the state? If there are no MLAs, there's no governor, there's no security advisor, there's no CM, who's going to run the state?
Yeah.
At the onset, DG Mishra Sahab, thank you for your services to our country. We remain indebted to you. And I want to say something about Rami. I disagree very passionately with her, but I know her work in the Northeast. Why I disagree with her, she spends a lot of time in the Northeast. This girl sacrificed a lot. So it's not true. She may have a different opinion, but I do stand up for her right to say what she wants. But there are two things. Look, it is true that this is a conflict. It is true that both sides are trying to put it on each other. But let's look at the political thing. I want to look at it from a political prism from 3rd May, what started. Never in the history of independent India, since we became independent, has a state been in this sort of a mess. I don't remember another situation, and then I agree with you. Article 355 has been imposed and Article 356 is not imposed. It is terrible. The chief minister should have been sent packing the first day.
Yes.
Yes, now the chief minister says these audio tips are not his. And I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt. After all, he's our elected representative. But he was made to delete tweets, right? The PMO made him delete tweets. He made tweets that were not behaving his status. That did offend the community. You have to understand that. Now, whether weapons have come in from X place or Y place, whether the Maitis are getting it or cookies are getting it, weapons have been gotten. Armory that has been looted by both sides. They have left their Aadhaar card and gone. Today, drones that are being used in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, used by Hamas and Hezbollah, are being used in Manipur. This is an attack, and I agree with Rami. This is an attack on the sovereign territory of India. And okay, armed forces can take it. The Manipur police is not up to it. Within the Manipur police itself, there is rivalry. We know the Manipur rifles stopped the Assam rifles from coming in. Had they come in earlier, that incident of those cookie women would not have happened. First thing, send this chief minister packing.
Yes.
It doesn't matter whether he's Metis, cookie.
Yes.
Send him packing,
Send
he's
him.
failed. It is a human rights crisis.
Yes.
After 69,000 people displaced in South Asia last year, 63,000 people were displaced in Manipur. Whether they are Metis or they are cookies, they are our fellow citizens. Imagine if this was happening in Delhi. Imagine if this was happening in Uttar Pradesh. If this was happening in Bihar. Would we say it's Hindu-Muslim? Would we say it's Brahmin, Thakur? How can we divide amongst Metis and cookies? It is a humanitarian crisis.
Yes.
And the buck has to stop somewhere. I'm not blaming the Prime Minister. It's not right. But the Chief Minister should go.
Yes.
He must go right away. Let the Prime Minister take charge. And one last thing. I would suggest, and no politics, let the Prime Minister take all opposition parties, sit with both communities. Let's get a solution. Let's talk. We don't need foreign interference. If the borders are failing, as DG Saab rightly said, whose responsibility is it?
Yes.
Who's guarding the borders?
Okay,
Yes.
Ravi Desai, why should the Chief Minister not go? He is ultimately the head of the state government, and the state government has been found wanting in this case.
Absolutely, and there have been certain deficiencies. We can't shy away from that. But having said that, these are historical legacy issues. We must understand that this coup that we are criticizing today, which was completely violated, there was recruitment going on while the agreement was on, was signed by the Congress government. The fact that the borders have not been fenced for decades, is not just because these border areas, and we share 1,643 kilometers with Myanmar, not just because these border areas are densely forested and difficult to man, but also the fact that there was no intention, The border fencing has been announced. It is going to take time. But having said that, again, when FMR was to be revoked, when illegal immigration became a situation, and one of the things to calm tempers down was for the FMR to be revoked, it was the same people who refused and objected to the revocation of the FMR. 996 illegal villages have come up. Do you think they've come up in the last 7 years? These conflicts are very deep conflicts. We must understand that. Of course, the cookies and the Metis are equally a part of India, as the Nagas are, and as the Nepalis and the Tamils who live in the state of Manipur. Nobody talks about them. But the fact of the matter, Madhav, really is that these are legacy issues, and we are cleaning up a lot of the mess which had happened earlier on, whether it was the Sioux agreement, whether it was no border fencing, whether it was the fact that, when the Kuki and Naga fight happened, we tend to forget this. There were over 1,700 fake encounters under the Congress government. There were over 750 people who died, and it took 9 years to bring it to some sort of stability. So nothing is
I think
going to
Tessie
happen.
should respond to
and
that.
Let me just say one last thing, Madhav. The
Quickly.
rate of incidents of the conflict from last year had come down till the drone attack started. Why is it that that is not being condemned by people like Gladdy, who are so loud on this debate? Why is it that, we are not taking this seriously and
Okay,
saying,
I'll come to that, but I want
to
to come to the larger political point that it's not like there's been no long protracted conflicts like this in the past. 2007 to 2012, when the UPA government was in power at the center, when there was a Congress government in the state, we've seen for 5 long years an insurgency, a similar sort of situation on ground. So that too is part of the political fight. Unfortunately, no violence can be justified, but unfortunately, when it comes to political responsibility, both sides will have to share the burden of what's there.
Which is why the people of Manipur democratically elected, whether Metis, cookies or any other community, to remove the Congress and elect another government. 10 years, there's a man who claims to be the strongest man in the universe, or his supporters claim he's the strongest man in the universe. For 10 years, he couldn't build a fence. I believe Congress was wrong. Congress is out of power, no? He couldn't build a fence.
Yes.
His intelligence, Ajit Dovalji today is in Russia, did not know drones were coming in. Come on, it is not. They are my armed forces. Sir serves us. If drones are coming in and hitting my armed forces, it doesn't matter whether the Maitis are putting in the cookies. They are my armed forces. They are wearing the tricolor. What is our intelligence doing? Have they failed?
Are we saying drones sent across the border in Punjab, they sent across the border in J&K? All right. Is there a security and intelligence failure? You asked a security and intelligence failure question. Is there a security and intelligence failure as he is claiming?
Madhav, I'll tell you, you asked me the same question earlier also. You agreed that we have 60,000 forces there. And I know the terrain very well. The places I have gone, I hope nobody might have gone there. Like if I tell ahead of Sangay Code, Bihang and Sajik, Tampak, these are the areas I have operated. I can well tell, yes, there is a security threat on our country. It's not cookies or Maitis. Neither am a cookie or a Maiti. But I'm telling you, 1800 kilometers we cannot control because it is thickly forest and having hills. Is it not there in Kashmir where we are having the worst part of it? If it has happened in May last year, 16 months have passed, can't we put 10 battalions in Myanmar, Manipur border to block it? It was not done. The complete border is open. Number two, of course, fencing will take time. Fencing has started. FMR, of course, that has been revoked. But security deployments should have been there.
Okay.
And you see, the counter-insurgency operations of Unified Command, why it failed? Because you can't have this type of operation only in the plains like that of Kaching and Churachandpur and these areas.
Okay.
You have to go to the hills where the weapons are available with the insurgents. And I will tell you, we have about 60,000 migrants from across. They have come. You go to Tignopal, you go to Khongkang. These are the areas I am telling you. From there, you turn towards the left to Sita side. You find about 10 to 12 small villages in the forest. It has come up. Where from these people have come? Now, this is how the migrants have come. And they are creating problems. They have all come from Myanmar.
All have come from Myanmar.
All have come from Myanmar.
So, Colonel Sapam, once again, I want Colonel Sapam to respond to the point of lack of military presence close to the border. Is there somewhere a failure of our strategy, of our security forces, of whether center, state government, in actually putting out more security forces out there? If we say there's a foreign hand, then we should be doing something to prevent that foreign interference from happening. That's the point he's making.
Madhavji, very coolly, I'll just tell you the narrative. Please listen to me first. I have served there for 4 years with the Cookies and Nagas during the Naga-Cookie clash. What happened was the idea of Jalingam, it has not come up just yesterday. It came up at the time India got independence. There was a gentleman called Tunkupum Baite. He went to Pakistan, Rawalpindi, spoke to Ayub Khan. Ayub Khan was an officer, army officer from my regiment. I am from Assam regiment. He spoke to him when he was a president, and he trained his militant group in East Pakistan. And thereafter, again, Laldenga, again from my regiment, he requested him and his party, his militant group were also trained in East Pakistan. So the idea of Jalingam started long time back by the British. The seeds was sown that time. It has not come yesterday. Tunkumum Baite was subsequently killed by MNF. Because of difference in the ideology, because Mizoram is well settled down now today, flourishing, doing very well in education and in all fields. That was number one. Now, secondly, I'll tell you one more thing. India is growing up. India is a mighty country today.
Right.
It is coming up, and there's an idea of Act East. So now, as of now, the Act East policy is gone. As of now, it is gone. Now, let me tell you one thing. I will just give you one thing, that Burma Act was passed, was presented and passed in the House of Representatives by US on 6th of April. 6th of April 2022, Burma Act. And thereafter, it was signed by President of US on 26th of December 2022. And is it coincidence?
Okay. Are these all coincidences?
Let me just complete this. Just give me 1 minute. Otherwise, the story will be cut over here.
Okay, complete your point. Complete your point.
So, this act says that ethnic armed organization, PDF, any pro-democratic party, they all will be supported by the US. In terms of, very quickly I'll say, they will be authorized the appropriation of fund for financial year for 4 years, 2023 to 2027.
Okay.
And in that they are going to provide, just 1 minute, this is very important for everyone to understand. I'll just tell you, they are going to provide bulletproof jackets, all the materials, all the radar equipments, and the armored vehicles, and medicines, supplies, and all these things are going to supply under US this agreement.
Dr. Guite, I want Dr. Guite to respond to that. I see many hands going up. I'll come to each of you. Dr. Guite, is there a historical context, as he's saying? He's saying there's a strategic context also right now in terms of this recent enactment and also in terms of targeting India as a growing power in the region, particularly targeting India's Look East policy. Are those points all valid?
Yeah, okay, coming directly to your questions, like if we look at the political economy context of it, like given the strategic location and the kind of the present dispensation plan for not only Look East but also the Act East policy. So there are various, speculations doing the round that, there are vast source of minerals and fuels in the state, and this is Manipur is one kind of, this violence is one kind of a kind of laboratory which is going on, tested by the present dispensation. Many speculation and theories are going around, but the point here is like what we need to be concerned about is that it's been 1 year and 6 months, and it's still continuing, right? So it's the failure of the governance and the defense in terms of strategic national security. We have our intelligence agencies and, the political institution, the economic institution. You see that the state is a dysfunctional state right now. If I compare with, let's say, like a dysfunctional body, the post-mortem we all have done, defense analysts has done, intellectuals has done, civil society has done, the post-mortem of this violence. And at the end of the day, you don't look into how you diagnose the problem. There are various multitude of problems that you are seeing. But the root cause, when we talk about governance, then you see that the root cause, which is everyone is blaming and everyone is identifying as the root cause, is still governing the state.
Okay.
So that's and one more thing. When it comes to foreign hand, I just want to just counter or just try to say about the kind of letter which has been gone. It's the cookies who have tried to kind of send letter to the US, to the Israel and all these things. But when it comes to, when we talk in terms of evidence and all, we see as per the record under the Ministry of Home Affairs, you have the insurgents groups like the People Liberation Army and the UNLF. They are, listed as the insurgents group, and they have a connection with a strong tie with China, and they are very active. You can see in their Twitter X account also. And then recently, the National Investigating Agency source also said that the NSCN, they are helping the Métis terrorists to procure weapons in the some report which was submitted in Guwahati High Court.
Right.
So you see, this kind of my concern is that, yes, as a civil society, we all know that this is a problem existing.
Soldier being killed. When incidents like these take place, when what's happening on the streets of Imphal takes place, there are serious questions about what's going wrong as far as the state government is concerned. There's a question I've asked you, but she says, ultimately, we are seeking accountability of our own state government.
See, Madhav, like I said, this is a very complex situation. You can't solve it this easily because nobody is willing to come on the table. The cookies are not willing to come on the table. The Métis are not willing to come on the table. This is a state of great amount of CSOs. Not one CSO has been able to bring them on because everybody is hell-bent on continuing this. And there are communities that are hell-bent on a separate administration, which is never going to happen. There is a demand of a union territory status, not realizing that a union territory status cannot happen because this is not just about the cookies and the Métis. There are the Nagas also. These lands are overlapping, and this will cause a larger problem. So there is no meeting point at this part. But let me say this, nobody is defending any militant group, Your answer to why you have sought international interference cannot be there are other militant groups who have connections with foreign countries. You have to answer why in this conflict were you seeking international interference. Number two, again, coming back to this, we can talk about, I know about the Burma 2020 Act. We know that US is supporting the NUG. We know that China has a problem on its northern Kokang border. We know all of this. The problem is, why are we not laying responsibility on the people who are buying these weapons? Why are we not laying responsibility on the people who have trained their armed cadres to assemble these drones? These are, sir, not the same drones as you find in Ukraine and all. These are assembled drones because you can find them in, you know how to make them because now it's all available on the internet, So why is there no condemnation? The rate of incident, I'm repeating myself, had gone down. There is vested interest to keep this conflict running. And we cannot blame our armed forces because we've lost our armed forces also. They've given their lives for what? For, two communities not being able to settle their internal problems.
Okay, one by one. Tehseen.
No one is blaming the armed forces. In fact, everyone out here is grateful to the armed forces that they are risking their lives. The fact of the matter is, when the Burma Act was passed, or when the US Senate and was discussing it, did the Indian intelligence not have common sense that with US now directly interfering in Myanmar, and that Myanmar army supported by China will be a repercussion on India and in Manipur, where their fault lines already exist? We didn't have the common sense to deal with it. Number one. Number two, since 2022, why didn't we start taking actions on this? Number three, I'm again asking, not has the Chief Minister gone, but Armed Forces Special Protection Act, Provision Act, which was actually celebrated being removed, is today unevenly removed. Whichever side of the border you are, it is put unevenly in that state. Why like that? That creates distrust. When the Chief Minister comes on national TV and says, look, it's not 2 women who are paraded naked. Now, not going to Meitei or Cookie women. He says hundreds of women are paraded naked. Therefore, we cut off the internet. Cut off the internet, you have more internet cut than in Ukraine. You have cutting the internet so the rest of India does not see women being paraded naked. Whose responsibility is this? This buck stops not just at the Chief Minister but at the NSA. At some point, you got to own up and take responsibility and say the buck stops at me. These are my fellow citizens who are being killed. And at some point, I need to take action. You can't go into the past of what Aurangzeb did, of what Nehru did, of what Rajiv Gandhi did, or what anyone did. Come to the present today. What is the present today and who's failing and who's trying to support anyone?
Okay, yeah, you want to come in, Mr. Mishra? Yes.
Madhav, I'll tell you, I totally agree with him.
Thank you.
You were asking about the foreign hands. Definitely, I'll come back to that. We have Paresh Barua. Where is he now? He's there in Myanmar.
Yeah.
Myanmar-China border. He's still there. And that is what Janta government, this Myanmar Janta government was helping through China, through Xi Jinping.
Okay.
And what Sheikh Hasina has told, she is here in India, somewhere very close to Delhi. What she has told, that is what United States has thought. A pocket of Mizoram and Chittagong Hill Tracts, and then some more portions of, some areas of Manipur,
Yeah.
and then those areas, there will be a separate administration, separate state. That is what Sheikh Hasina has told from here only.
Right.
So we have to be careful why she has told.
Okay.
We can't tell that she is wrong, why she has stated like this. Then, if we know that the interference will be there, as he told, US is definitely interfering in Myanmar. China has a stay. All the weapons which are come, there are Chinese weapons, so are also those weapons from USA. They are also available.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful for that border.
Right.
And as they were telling, these weapons were assembled in the border areas.
Okay.
So we have to be very careful to those areas where these bombs and these drones are being made, and the experts are there, which are the places,
and in fact, there are a number of views.
it.
Let's just quickly look at some of the views that have come in as far as this foreign influence angle is concerned. This is the IGP operations and claiming that there's a foreign role in the drone-related incidents. On the 10th of September, the Manipur police has considered handing over investigation to the NIA as well. This is also the September 10th. Drone fragments sent to forensic labs to identify the chemicals used, and also, of course, the fact that involvement of foreign agencies cannot be ruled out was stated by the then Army Chief General Naravne in July 2023. He's also gone on to say they're definitely there, especially Chinese aid to insurgent groups. The question I have for Gladys Wi-Fi is simply this. Gladys Wi-Fi, if you have a situation where the primary issue was the High Court and what it said regarding Métis status as an ST. Now, if that order was undone earlier this year and the primary cause for this conflict has been undone, why are we now, by perpetuating this crisis, aren't we allowing the foreign hand at some way to gather an influence and influence our own internal situation and internal security issues?
Regarding the ST quota that we talked about, why are they fighting for the ST quota? We have to understand that. The land ownership of Manipur, 10% belongs to the Métis. The rest, 90%, belongs to all the tribals. We have to understand this geographical ownership of the land, okay? And then Métis who have the high position in a society, they are Brahmins, they are these, they are there, they're the pujaris and all this high class. Why do they want to become ST? Number one, because they cannot own the land that is owned by us. They want to buy it, our constitution doesn't allow them. The only way to grab this land is that they want to be included in ST quota, which we know it is not possible.
But HC has undone that. The High Court has undone that, right? That's the situation.
Yes, it's undone. But the reason why do they want to grab the land? Because they cannot buy it. So they're trying to become...
The issue is on status quo right now. Issue is on status quo when it comes to...
Yes, I know, but we have to know the geographical ownership of the land.
That is where
and
I
also, what Ramin has said, that foreigners have come and settled it, and there are so many new villages. Let's look at Delhi. When I came down in 1993, there was no Greater Noida. There was the whole, many part of Dwarka was empty. Many part of Malvianagar beyond Saket were all empty. Are they all illegal immigrants? No, they are our very own citizens. The Kukis have the right to settle whichever village they belong to, because why do they come to town? Why do they populate it? Because the government has neglected Northeast, especially Manipur, especially the Kukizao. If you look at Kukizao area today, it is so sad how they're defending their life. It is so sad that a student who was supposed to be studying are, defending their village. We know the boys that was killed in a fake encounter in Ziribam. We know that those are so fake. The picture have come alive. If you look at Manipur and the Kukizao existence, it is so painful. They are not illegal immigrants from any other place. They are our very own people who have come down from village because government have neglected the infrastructure of the Kukizao people. You have to understand that. And also when in regard to ST quota, that is okay, fine. Let's not talk about that. Is already we know the results. And also the drone, which all my panelists have so interested in pointing about the drones and the rocket. The drones and the rocket. Lissy Priya, one of the self-styled climate activists, has donated many drones to the Métis militia. You can check it out on internet.
No,
why are we not talking about
right?
that? Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not talking about the arms that is looted in Infal Valley? When you show the picture here, I can recognize my Kuki boy. They were having one single bearer gun given by the Britisher to defend our village. I showed them the picture. That is nowhere close to this gentleman expression of that picture.
And then, yes. You want to respond to that?
The drone, what she was talking about, was a recce drones, not for bombing this kind of militarized drone.
They can't be used for bombing.
No, it cannot bomb. The one which is shown now, these are the drones which can drop.
Okay.
And the one was given by that girl is normal drone which used for covering media covering type, no? That what you have in marriages and
no, but it's very dangerous. If you have this drone versus drone narrative, it's very dangerous.
That is at both sides.
If Indians start using drones to bomb each other,
but that is
it's a very dangerous situation we're talking about.
That is on both sides. Now what happened is about the ST. About the ST, whether the Métis deserve or not, that will be decided by the government of India, not by anybody. If I want to eat fish curry, then you cannot say that no, you cannot eat fish curry. No, you don't eat. No, the government of India is there. The Mai Baap hai Hamara. He will decide whether it is applicable or not. This I wanted to put it very clearly. Now, what happened is, if there is any doubt about the illegal immigrant coming over here, why we shouldn't have NRC and let it be done very sincerely, then only it will be crystal clear. If a person, I have my Manipuri brothers and sisters in Burma also, in Bangladesh also. How can they come? They cannot come.
Tehseen Poonawala, NRC, that's the solution.
They have to come with...
Quick response to that.
Whatever the Prime Minister has to decide, because the Prime Minister and Home Minister keep flipping. First, Home Minister gives a chronology and the Prime Minister says, take my word, doesn't happen. And I'm saying it's a confused government, it's a confused Prime Minister, confused Home Minister, they have no idea what to do. But nobody's answered one question. Why is ASFA not applied uniformly?
Okay, why is ASFA not applied uniformly? Ravi Desai, quick response to that.
First of all, I really want to tackle this question. You know, when we talk about Lechipriya and all, I am completely against anybody using drones, whether it's for surveillance, whether it's for bombing, and especially children being involved. All right, so this is very clear. But here, I can stand here and condemn it. Right? I still haven't heard a word of condemnation from any of our panelists from the other side saying that, you know, what we used for bombing is very problematic to our national security. Second, when it comes to scheduled tribe status, I take great offense to saying, oh, these Brahmin and high-class people, you know, this sort of bifurcation in this country is not acceptable, because if you are a scheduled tribe and you are Christian, does that mean that you don't have scheduled tribe status? Of course, you still have scheduled tribe status, you know, so therefore, the Metis can ask for a scheduled tribe status, and there is a long process for it, whether it is, it will go to NCST, it will go to TRI, it will go to RGI.
Well, there's so many aspects of this. We could continue this debate, but I'd like to thank all of you because it's been quite enlightening. Solutions are something that need to be sought out. There are perhaps solutions, and we were inching towards a more peaceful situation, as some of the panelists have observed. And we do hope that peace and calm prevails at the earliest in Manipur, because it has been a very long-drawn, violent crisis over there. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. P.K. Mishra, Rami Desai, Colonel Shadi Kumar Sapam, Gladi Wi-Fi Hunjan, Dr. Nemthengai Guite, as well as Tehseen Poonawala. Thanks so much for joining us on this edition of the National Debate.